We all right, Oh?
I'm getting the link.
Okay. I got it, Omar. Don't worry.
Okay, here we go.
All righty.
Omar, change the name. It says Omar Delgado's personal meeting room.
Okay, you're gonna change it?
Uh, yeah. Let me edit this. I'm gonna edit the video.
I'm gonna go with it, Mel.
Go ahead.
How we doing, Explorer Nation? Welcome to an evening with Lynskey and friends live without a net. Should be interesting. Could be dangerous. I'm pleased to be here. I am living the dream in scenic downtown Westchester on this stormy Monday. Listen, this is an evening of fun, light and lively Columbus humor. Good stories, good times, general buffoonery designed to brighten your mood in these dark days that we've been having. So sit back, relax, float downstream for a while. This is going to be good. Before we start, I have to take a moment and thank two very, very special people. Mr. Omar Delgado, who's on the screen there, the head of CCNN, national champion CCNN, Columbus Broadcasting, class of 98, does so many things around here making this happen. And right across from me in my office here, you can't see her, but she is actually responsible for this, for better or worse. Mrs. Melissa Marty, our social media director, she is amazing. She has so many good ideas. And so here we are, but thank you again, and thank you, Melissa, for making this happen. So what are we going to do tonight? That's a good question. Speaking of questions, you guys are encouraged to ask questions. Apparently you can email them in or whatever on the YouTube thing. If you know my number, you can text me, whatever. You have questions for our guests, feel free to ask them as well. Who are our guests? Well, we're going to find that out shortly. There are people that you all know, legendary, disreputable people that have helped make this school the place it is. Speaking of this school, a lot of people want to know, how is Columbus doing? Columbus is actually doing great, as great as you can be given the situation. I don't think anybody believed when we walked out of here on Friday, March 13th, that we weren't coming back. We thought, yeah, we'll come back after Easter break. It didn't work out that way, clearly. But our faculty, our students, the administration, Dave Pugh, Tom Kruzak, everybody involved has done an amazing job, Something that Omar can talk about later, how quickly we were able to go to remote learning. Is it perfect? Obviously not. Does it have its flaws? Obviously it does, but it has its benefits. And I can say with a fair amount of confidence that Columbus is light years ahead of most schools. And
Yes, they are.
yeah, I mean, how quickly we adjusted. Now, the younger guys, obviously teachers, they were more adept, but a lot of the old timers, have become quite the Zoomers, if you will.
Zoomers.
Zoomers, boomers to Zoomers. That's what we've got going on here. And
we're gonna name a generation after that.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna remember this year. As for the future, what can I tell you? We're gonna have virtual baccalaureate mass on Thursday. We're gonna have a virtual graduation on Saturday. In terms of an actual graduation, we're working on it. But as you can imagine, it's like doing a jigsaw puzzle blindfolded, and the pieces keep changing shape because we can't control what we can't control. But we're going to do our best, and the support of the Marist brothers, the support of the Archdiocese, the support of our parents has been phenomenal. So we will get into more about the future later, but let's see.
Here's our first question.
We do you have one for me?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Okay, face.
I just want everyone to know I'm the Ed McMahon here. He's the Johnny Carson. So I'm just going to try to keep this thing moving.
From Dante Pace, how did they manage to get both of you with their busy schedules to do this? Listen, Dante, a chance to do this, you make time, and I'm so glad that you're tuned in, and I know that you enjoyed your time here, and I hope you're doing well. But this is the type of thing that we may continue to do.
This is great.
Yeah,
This is a genius idea.
it actually, yes, it's a genius idea. The genius is across from me here.
It had to be her because none of us could come up with this on our own.
Another question I just got. What was my favorite thing to teach? Man, that's like asking you to choose between your children or something. I loved everything I taught, but some things I enjoyed more. There are the classic stories, from the Vietnam class. I mean, Dien Bien Phu. I mean, how do you not remember that? The space program, John Kennedy, Richard Nixon, the Tet Offensive, Woodstock. There were so many things that, I never really thought about it as work. They paid me to tell stories about things that I liked. And I will tell you that the favorite thing, I can tell you this, my favorite year as a teacher was my last year. Teaching World War II, which I loved. I loved everything about that class. My last year went so well. I'd finally got the class where I wanted it to be. I was feeling good about myself. And the hardest thing about taking this job now was walking away from that. But I felt that, that last year of teaching, year number 30, I was at my best, and I walked away, they didn't have to farm me out. I still had it going. So thank you for that question. Rolly Benitez. Hey, how you doing, brother? Hope everything's well. Thank you for tuning in. I hope your music is coming along and that you're staying out of trouble. I'm sure you are.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, sir.
With The Last Dance being this famous documentary that's happening about Michael Jordan, he
Yeah.
retired and he came back. Are you planning? Are we gonna have a Lynskey comeback anytime soon, or?
Listen, I would love to teach one class. That's why I do the lunch and learn that we do.
That's right.
It allows me to keep my hand in that. A great idea from Sylvie Galvez Cuesta, once a week to teach at lunch. Allows the kids to see me in a different way, and I get to pick and choose what I want to do. So hey, maybe we'll do a live lunch and learn. Oh,
hey man, I'm all in on that.
We could do that.
I would pay to have your class again. I'm telling you, and I'm sure there are a lot of alumni out there who would do that as well. So
oh, you willing to pay the tuition price for that?
I mean, whatever it takes, dude. That was some of the best times of my life.
Yeah, we did have some fun, and it's amazing you guys still remember the stuff you remember. I don't remember half of it. Ed Clark, class of '93. How you doing, Ed? Ed, I don't know if physically I can still demonstrate a Viet Cong suicide bomber on someone. Those were the good old days in A22. Yes, that was hands-on education. If you will. Thank you for that question, Ed.
Frank Lopez just shivered a little bit from the class of '98 when he said that. I still remember that.
Village mayor. Yeah.
So yeah, man, this is gonna be a fun night. I'm ready for it. I'm here to produce and whatever you need. So you let me know, sir.
Okay. Oh, hey, someone's knocking on the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. What is going on here? Who is knocking on? Oh my God. Security. Where's Paul? Where is Paul? Look, Mr. O'Brien. Mr. O'Brien, what are you doing, dude?
I was reading this book called A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking, and I got to the end of it, and next thing I know, the time-space continuum has been disrupted, and I'm back at school. What the heck is going on here?
Look at this. You're looking outstanding there, buddy. Thank you for doing this.
I'm very confused. I thought everything was virtual. What am I doing here at school?
You're perfect, man. Don't worry about it. And thank you for not drinking on the air. This is a family show, after all. We appreciate that, and a special thanks to your parole officer.
Oh, there goes my NFL career. Great.
Yes. So, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've learned some tricks about how to do YouTube and how to do capture, and I'm now like I'm a YouTube star. I've gotten like seven views.
That's an amazing number.
That's
Listen,
almost one a week.
you have gone from A to Z. You started in the era of mimeograph machines and overhead projectors and duotangs, and then to smart boards and iPads, and now you're zooming. Listen, and we were talking earlier, this Zoom thing for people of a certain age, it's not that easy. How have you, the serious question, how have you adapted to it, and how comfortable are you with it at this point?
Well, remember when I started teaching, and we were still using the Phoenician alphabet, so cuneiforms and things like that. So
Yes.
for me to get all the way up to Z, like Zoom, I thought Zoom was like something you did in the old 1972 Mustang. I had no idea. So, but YouTube is my God. I have any question, I go to the altar YouTube and I go, how do I do this? And I always get 67 answers.
If you could do it, anyone could do it.
I'm not sure that was a compliment, but maybe thank you.
Listen, no, you're a litmus test. If you can do it, it can be done. Your hair's looking. Yes, it's looking.
This is what we call the isolation. This is the isolation haircut right here, my man.
Yes,
Right?
it is. Yes, it is. Hey, I'm wearing a Castaways shirt this year, the 2020 Perfect Vision Tour. You've got the original Castaways shirt. People have been asking, OB, give us an update. What are the Castaways doing? What's it look like? How are things with Castaways against cancer?
Well, the mission continues. Cancer doesn't rest. So we're patiently waiting for our sources in Key West to tell us which hotels are going to open up and how soon. But we have had, as everything we do in Castaways, we have a little element of commando there. So we've had certain hotels tell us that if we arrive, even if they're not open, that they'll accommodate us somehow. But having said that, we're getting back to our roots. We're doing less hotels and more camping, because back in 2000 we camped almost the entire way, which was quite challenging, to be honest with you, between the no-see-ums and the mosquitoes and just the heat. But I think camping is it has a certain sine qua non. I mean, real men camp. Not tough guys. They don't sleep in hotel beds. They paddle 30 miles a day, then they sleep on the ground.
You guys have lived the rock star lifestyle the last few tours here. Do you think you're really ready to go back to camping on a beach, sleeping in people's backyards and such?
Well, see, it's easy for me because I'm only doing a partial this year. I'm in retirement, but they're trying to pull me out of retirement, so I'm only doing a couple of days. So a couple of days won't be bad because, you guys know the number of times I've been forced to sleep in my own backyard because the wife has locked the door on me. So, camping is second nature to me.
Who can blame her?
Apparently not the authorities.
Hey, how much money have you guys raised?
It's a little, this is not a regular year for us, and we're hoping to get to $50,000. So I don't want to put a number on it, John, but we're shy of 50,000, and we got to have at least 50K.
No, I'm sorry, buddy. How much money have you raised in 20 years? That's what I meant.
Oh, I think about, and don't quote me here, I think we're over $1 million. I'm going to say $1 million. 1,200,000, 1,100,000. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
not bad.
That not bad. That's a job well done, my friend.
Well, we had a lot of help. You know that. We had a lot of help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you started it. I mean,
Yeah, I sure did. And I tell you what, Bob Linfors, myself, Jose Sanchez, and Alex Mirabal. I mean, all we knew about kayaking was nothing. And we knew that the blue side was on the left and the green side was on the right. And just keep going till you see the big conch shell and then you're done.
It all worked out, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know how. God's tender mercies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, people call you a legend, which is a nice way of saying you've been doing this for a long time. And you
Or
have,
too long.
is there anything that you wanted to teach that you never got the chance to teach?
Yeah, there is, John. Actually, there is. I was really hoping to teach a section of molecular biophysics. It's something I study every night, right? Every night when I'm not.
You can't spell that.
Well, you know, I'm currently taking the Columbus manual and I'm actually translating into Phoenician. So for the sea people, you know, the people on the kayak. So I'm busy. I'm very busy.
No, really. Was there anything you didn't get to teach that you wanted to?
No, actually, in all seriousness, I got a pretty good gig, man. You know, I got that Florida history thing from Dr. Burris, and I got to teach international relations, which is the Cold War. I'm pretty happy, and I picked up that World War II from you, as you know, and you know, I mean, no, I like to teach administration a few things, but you know, that's different.
Yeah, we could use a few lessons. Yeah.
I don't think people realize that this is the real you.
What's wrong with you, man?
4-day week. They do it in 4 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Write your congressman. We need 4 days, not 5.
4 days.
You made me lose my train of thought.
I don't think people realize that this is you guys naturally. Like, this is not on for the show. This is how you guys are all the time. And I realized that once I became a teacher here. But you guys are genuinely this funny all the time when you're around each other.
What are you talking about? I don't think this is funny. We're just having a conversation. Everybody talk like this?
Apparently not. But
Mr. Lynskey, what's that on your finger there?
oh, yes, sir. This is the state championship ring for the football.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know,
Are there any diamonds left in South Africa? Holy mackerel.
it's a little gaudy, I admit, but 60 years in the making, it's well worth it.
I don't think Pete Diddy would wear that. That thing is huge. It looks like the lug nut off a tire.
It does. It does. You want to wear this in a chain around your neck. I know you do.
Oh no, man! I tell you, you never go through an airport wearing that thing.
Obi, you got one. You got one in '97. I remember that.
It was made out of tinfoil, Omar.
You're the only head coach in history who had to drive his team himself in a dilapidated van all the way to North Florida, and you won.
Well, I mean, I hope I'm not being disrespectful, and I don't mean to be, but you know, back in the day, maintenance of the vans and the school buses were kind of a low priority. So we would name the buses and the vans after certain space disasters, right? So there was, you know, so you know, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but I mean, you know, you never knew, because if you remember back in the day, that first bus number 1, right? There was a little delay with the steering mechanism. So you would turn the wheel, right? And there'd be a 4-second delay before the bus would start to turn. So the cross country team would get up there with their watches and say, okay, OB, I-95, here comes the turn now. And you turn the wheel, and about 4 seconds later, the bus would start turning. You had to time it perfect.
Apollo 13, buddy. Apollo 13. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't want to be disrespectful. I really didn't.
You made it happen. OB, how many more years do you think you've got left? How much fuel you got left in the tank? You still enjoy, let me rephrase, you still enjoy this?
Well, it's not a question of enjoying it. It's a question of, you know, The economy will tell me what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Here's another question. If you hadn't become a teacher, because you did other things in your life, was there ever a point where you thought about maybe pursuing a different career, and what would that have been?
Well, I was the United States Department of Agriculture. I got out of education during the right after the Arab oil embargo, and man, there was no jobs anywhere. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. For you young guys, that's when the Arabs got upset with us and decided not to sell us gas anymore, or at least 33% of it, and the economy tanked, right? So I ended up with the United States Department of Agriculture, and I think I was into entomology. Now, I thought entomology had something to do with, inspecting, I don't know what it was, but it ended up being fruit fly and black fly. And so I was an assassin for the USDA. I would go out into the most remote places, right, and kill these little bugs that were destroying the economy, the citrus economy, right? And for some reason, I loved it, man. I was the Clint Eastwood of the bug world. And I actually got in trouble for doing too many cases. They said, you're working too hard. You're making the rest of the department look bad. You need to slow it down a little bit. So I had to leave.
The dirty Harry of the agriculture department.
Hey, let me tell you what, they gave us their own truck, and they gave us a mist blower, right? And they turned us loose, right? And that was awesome. I love being outside, and I love talking to the farmers. And like the greatest thing, like Miami Beach, I don't know how the government knew, but like on the 168th floor in Miami Beach, there was a woman from Tel Aviv who had a baby Jerusalem fruit tree up there, and we had to go up and spray it, right? And we're knocking on the door. The woman's about 100 years old, opens the door. We're dressed like we're outer spacemen. And I point at it. She goes, what are you going to do? I said, we have to spray that. The plant was that big. The federal government dropped about $10,000 or $15,000, but we got that plant. We sprayed that plant, dude. Right?
You're proud of that. You're proud of that.
Proud of it. I mean, we got a job. We were integral. We were team members there. It was like the A team.
You're a big fan of teamwork, and you did a great job as department leader this year. Who was department leader when you first joined the social studies department?
Oh, the venerable Tom O'Neill.
Tom O'Neill.
Or was it Dr. Burris? No, Tom. Let's go with Tom O'Neill.
Tom O'Neill. What a great man he was, OB.
I tell you what, he was a heck of a boss. He used to have us come over to his house and play poker, and I was so intimidated that I would lose on purpose.
That's why you lost.
That's exactly
it. I'm pretty sure it's why I lost. Politics, baby.
I got a question for you, OB. What's your favorite thing to teach in Florida history?
Oh, Henry Flagler, boy. Henry Flagler. Oh my God. That guy, if you ever, I've run across the 7 Mile Bridge in races. I've flown across the 7 Mile Bridge. That's been a long time ago. I've paddled underneath of it. And you look at that bridge, and this is Henry's own words, right? That's 7 miles of hell. So when you paddle underneath it, right, and you see that German concrete that they brought in, because Henry wanted to do the best concrete he could. I mean, you can see the labor, the sweat, the ingrain of the wood when they put up the coffer dams. You can see fingerprints. They were like and you're looking at that thing, you're going, man, that's like 1908, It's like some poor guy's sitting there right now in 1908, suffering, fighting mosquitoes, same kind of heat, right? And it's just like there's something magical about the Keys and something magical about Henry Flagler. If I had to pick an age to live in, I'd go back to Florida in 1908. Absolutely.
Really?
I would.
That's cool. All right, here's one for you. It's a tough one, but if you could pick anybody in history that you've admired, studied, taught, whatever, and could meet them, who would you choose?
Oh, it'd be Lucy.
Lucy, like
I love Lucy.
not I Love Lucy, but Lucy, like the first
Like
human.
Muhammad, man, the mother of all civilization.
Well, you're an anthropology major. I know that. So,
dude, I mean, come on, man, come on.
listen,
Quest for Fire, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Come on.
3 foot tall. She couldn't speak. What were you going to say to her?
The mother of all civilization. You kidding me? Come on. I mean,
Can we fast forward to maybe like
All right, listen,
after the Dark Ages?
if you don't like what I got to say, then why don't you invite somebody else on your little program?
Well, we just might do that, as a matter of
I'll go
fact.
back to the USDA. I'm sure they have me. Oh, so you want me to come with the moderator? Okay, give me a time frame.
Uh, so, post-revolution,
Which revolution?
our revolution, the good one.
Not the one in 1967.
No, sir. No.
Okay. Oh,
1776.
okay.
Tom and the boy.
Honestly, if I had
Yeah.
my way, I would make every single person at Columbus High School read a biography of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Oh, so we're going with the French.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember, he's not really French, but that's okay.
It didn't end well for him, though, dude.
Yeah. You know what, though? What a blaze of glory. What an absolute blaze of glory. I think number 2 would be Alexander the Great. And then I think number 3, believe it or not, would be Woodrow Wilson. Yeah.
Really?
That's the first time he followed the post-revolutionary rule that you even stated.
That's fine.
Remember, I'm the guy teaching your children.
I was trying to figure out this timeline. I couldn't keep my finger on it.
Remember, time space continuum. I can do whatever I want.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Even Hawkins gave me permission. All right.
Another question.
Yes, I did meet Bob Marley.
What was this? I don't know how you're going to answer this. What's the stupidest thing you've ever seen in Columbus?
Should I phrase a form of a question like we're on Jeopardy?
Oh man,
I don't know.
so many.
The stupidest thing? Oh my goodness. Okay, this is going to take a moment. Why don't you go to commercial? I got to think about this for a second.
I'll tell you one. The reason why I knew I was going to take your class. Okay. In 1992, my brother is a senior, Ozzy Delgado and Rolly Medina, right? They're in your class and they decide they want to go out to the Everglades, and they decided to camp out over the Everglades just because of your class. And I'm watching this as a 6th grader, and I'm like, if this is what they're teaching at Columbus, I can't wait to get into these people's classes. And they made a video for you.
Yeah.
You want to describe that video?
No, I don't think so, man. Because no, let's skip that one. But I will tell you a story, right? And you know, there are fables at Columbus, and fables may be true and they may not be true, right?
Yeah.
And we'll change the name to protect the innocent, right? And maybe it happened in my class, and maybe it didn't. And
Right.
maybe the story is real, and maybe it's not. But you know, sometimes you get the craziest conversations, right? And one of the greatest conversations was trying to explain the prime meridian and the equator and all that good stuff, right? And why the Earth spins the way it does. In fact, we're talking about the space program and how NASA actually uses the rotation of the Earth to try to, use, the physics to get their stuff into outer space. It's pretty cool stuff, right? And maybe it was in my class, maybe it was someone else's class. We got into this conversation about, well, what would happen if I started in North Carolina and I just kept jumping up and down, and maybe the Earth would rotate underneath me, and that eventually I would be in California. I'm still working on that one.
Did you give the young man an answer?
Well, when he got to Phoenix, he ran out of change to call me. He didn't have smartphones. So as an educator, you have to take all comers. You're like going, okay, now I got to take this seriously because, he's thinking outside the box. But, maybe if you stand over there in the corner of the room and jump up and down, see if you can make it into the hallway by the end of the period. Yeah, we got a point,
You had such an influence on my teaching because you were here for a few years before me. And when I got here, I didn't know anything. I had no idea what I was doing.
And not much has changed.
No, it's good that I've been consistent. I'll never forget walking by A24 on the corner there, Fred Foyle's room now, and you were in there teaching remedial reading with flashcards. And I've never seen a group of more unwilling to participate students in my life. And it was September. The air conditioning wasn't working. Okay, it's
Well,
stunk.
there was air conditioning A24.
Well, in theory, it stunk like the black hole of Calcutta, and you're up there in front of them, and you got sweat just streaming out of you like a waterfall. You're holding these flashcards up there. I've never seen anybody work so hard to get kids to spell the word what. And nobody did it better than you, my friend. And I said, listen, that's education right there.
That's why I want to go back all the way to Lucy, somewhere in the Olduvai Gorge, and figure out where we took a wrong turn. Because obviously the missing link did not get the proper protocol to go forward. No, but in all seriousness, those are the victories you look forward to, right? I mean, those are the ones in teaching that give you, in all sincerity, they give you a feeling that, you're part of something bigger, I mean, Carter Burris taught us, we taught you guys, right? And so it's that's one thing I can, all kidding aside, all jocularity aside, right? The Columbus family, the teachers, nobody cares like we care. I'm going to go on the record saying that. I know we're being recorded. I'm going to say it. Prove me wrong. Prove me that Columbus teachers, anyone in the county, cares more than we do. Maybe, but you're going to have to prove it to me.
Can't be done. So on that note, to you, what does being Marist mean?
Well, it's kind of funny that I know you never believe about my lifestyle, but the Marist Brotherhood has always instilled a curiosity about spirituality, and all through my life, I know it's hard to believe, but I've actually been a very spiritual person, not outwardly all the time, but the Marist charisma has always intrigued me about Christology, not only the historical Jesus, but especially the Gospel of John. I mean, when I sit down and read the Gospel of John, I mean, you can be the most complicated man in the world, and there's something there for you. And you can be the most simple man in the world, which I fit into that subset, and there's something for you. And the early Marist brothers of the 1968, 68 to 72, I give them a lot of credit for making me look at my faith in a different direction and looking at Jesus, not so much as a God or part of the Trinity, but a man who came to earth with a very special mission, but a man still a man. And I've always said, that you think about that, and I won't preach much longer, because if I do, I'm gonna have to have my own television show. You think about this, right? Okay. He was only on earth. His ministry was only 3 years. Nobody in the history of the modern age, or the ancient age, I should say, has affected the world that deeply in just 3 years. None of the Caesars, not the Mongols, right? So there's something always intriguing to me that the Marist brothers instilled in me as a young ninth grader back in '68.
Okay. That's very good, Ob. What are you reading now, dude?
What I'm reading currently is something called A Land Remembered, which was some old.
Yeah.
You remember that one? That's the Bible of Florida history.
That's a great book.
Going way back in the early days of South Florida, and when we were still part of a sleepy southern town and not a mega city that we are today.
Did you ever use that in Florida history?
Which one? No, unfortunately, because no, I don't have a good.
You did use one of the best books I've ever read, which is The Cry of the Panther. I love that book, man. That was one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with it, and I'll tell our audience, it's a Vietnam veteran coming back from Vietnam with very severe post-traumatic stress syndrome before we had an answer for it. And he's in Michigan getting beat up in a bar, and somehow he finds a National Geographic magazine about the endangered panther. So his life's going nowhere. So he decides to come down to the Everglades. He's never even seen the Everglades. He says, okay, if I can find the Viet Cong in Southeast Asia, certainly I can find this cat, which he named Shakespeare. And the whole book is about the spiritual revelation of when he finally finds his panther and he's able to shake the bondage of Vietnam. Great story. And it's true. It's a true story. Omar, so happy you remembered that.
Great
Well,
book.
I remember it mostly because Matt Panzer and I went to the Everglades trying to look for Shakespeare. But
I've never seen him either.
Oh, hey, somebody's knocking on the door. We got another visitor. Who could this possibly be? Oh my,
Hey,
there he is.
what's going on, guys?
Hey, class of '03, our admissions director. How we doing, Mike?
Great, man. I was just listening to you guys, talking it up over there.
Yeah, hey, welcome to the party here. We're glad to have you.
Hey, three out of four guys without hair. Nice.
I know.
What's in the water over there in Westchester, man?
You know, got three
Definitely not Rogaine.
I wish I had that silver fox hair that OB has.
But Omar, look at the crop circles.
Oh yeah, Mr. Lynskey used to call him the Stalin look.
Yes,
Absolutely.
aging Stalin.
Absolutely. So,
Hey,
Michael,
man, I'm going to submit my lesson plans while we're doing this. I think I'm a few hours late.
go ahead, man. But hang around. Don't go.
Yeah, I think grades are due. You better get on that.
I'll get to it.
Day late and a dollar short. Why change now, OB?
Yeah.
You made a career out of that.
You guys look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Michael, thank you. So, Mike,
You're not talking about me.
No, definitely not you.
Okay, good. Just want to clear that up.
how has Zooming been going for you at home? You've got three little kids, Irene, your wife, and you're trying to do admissions, which we can get into in a second. How's the Zooming experience been in the Marinelli household?
Oh, it's fun, needless to say. When the wife is teaching and there's three little ones running around. I got a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old. The 7 and 6-year-old are working and doing their virtual education. They have their own Zoom lessons, and then the 2-year-old is causing absolute chaos the entire time. So it works out. Yeah.
Perfect. People have been asking Mike, an opportunity for you to speak about it. Our numbers are strong. Correct?
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, we're at capacity right now, which is great. We still have a wait list, and as students, if they have to drop off for whatever reason, we'll go straight to that wait list. Yeah.
Yeah, very pleased about that. And we've been doing Zoom interviews with
Oh yeah, we took admissions into the 21st century. Why not? So we've done it a couple times with international kids. We've Zoomed in Lithuania before. We've done a couple of those.
Yeah.
So we're kind of used to it a little bit, but now it's a way to use it for all the kids that we have coming in. So
Okay, let's put it to the test. Omar, where's Lithuania?
It's on the other side of the globe.
You're right. Very good.
We gotta spin. I learned something.
Can you
Yes.
jump up and down to get there from here?
We should put that to the test.
Yeah, no, but we're not going to ask you to spell Lithuania.
No, don't do that.
Bridge too far, way too far. So, I just got a question. Here we
boy.
go. And Omar, Mike, you have probably different memories. Whatever happened to Ham the space chimp? That was the question I was just asking. If you guys are of a certain age,
There he is.
remember him.
Legendary. I remember him as a teacher.
Yeah.
He came around already when I was a teacher, because when I was in high school, we didn't have Ham the space chimp. We had Snuggle Buns, the Christmas ornament, and he was legendary for us.
In my class, we had the llama.
Oh, the llama. Yeah.
He made it to the football games. He was a llama.
Well, Snuggle Buns was actually on our homecoming court, legit on the field. John, you remember that?
I will never forget that. For you guys that don't know, things ended up in my classroom, how they got there, where they came from. It didn't really matter.
It was a lost and found.
A lost and found. It was a very eclectic gathering of objects as well. So we had this stupid Christmas lawn decoration that you guys named them Snuggle Buns. And
Snuggle Buns.
everywhere with the guys in 98. I remember where it's the homecoming game. It's halftime. I'm coaching. I'm looking out at the field and, the homecoming court and all that. And next thing I know, some idiot
It's Eddie Cooney and Robert Vega. Yeah.
out there holding Snuggle Buns up. And the next thing I know, he's on the homecoming court. I mean,
He almost won.
Should have won. And Mike,
Yeah.
we had the llama.
Oh yeah,
You know,
the Wakalamathon back in the day. That was great.
sure.
But yeah, Ham the Space Monkey's been places that a lot of us
Yeah, we cannot even speak about.
we cannot even speak about. Yeah.
It was amazing how much the guys loved this stupid stuffed chimp here, and they took him everywhere. And for they were reckless and they were irresponsible and they were dangerous, but they always took care of him. He always made it back. Yes.
You got any hand sanitizer there, Mr. Lynskey?
No, he's been sterilized.
Oh, he has an immune deficiency to COVID, man.
Yeah. He's got antibodies for sure.
He's good. Tom Martelli from 2005 is making references to Ham at the prom. Yes, Ham went to every prom. Thank you, Tom. He went to Ultra. He was arrested in New Orleans. He was detained by the Capitol Police in Washington, D.C. I mean, somebody's grandmother had to sew him back together one time.
Abuelita, yeah.
You know, it was just these guys who could not be responsible for their own well-being found a way to take care of this Ham, the space chimp, and they learned responsibility by taking care of him. He's got stories, and there are photos that just they need to stay in the archive. But thank you for the question. Ham is alive and well in my office, and one day he'll write a book.
Ham the space chimp.
Ham the
Good times.
Angel Suarez. Hi, Angel. That virtual background is amazing. Well, thank you, Angel. It's just, you know, my eclectic collections have sort of continued in my office. And I'm glad we got various things back there. Winston Churchill and Jesus and Greg Allman and things of that nature. A book by Keith Richards. Good stuff. Alfred Caballero. Hey, Fred. In 1987, we had a Nixon doll in front of class. Yes, we did. Yes, during Watergate, when things weren't going his way, you guys would throw things at him, paper balls and such, because he deserved it. You know, he did resign, and yeah, I'm glad you guys remember that.
The lore of that is Columbus.
Yeah. So,
Man.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
how is it? What do you know? You're like 34 or something?
Yeah, 35.
Okay, close enough. How was it for you, and Omar, for you as well, coming into a place where you went to school and then work, because OB and I went through it as well, then working with people who had been your teachers, been your coaches, and, you know, how did that go for you? Because now it's like whatever, you
Right
know?
now,
Yeah.
now I'm feeling old.
You
But
see things we
yeah,
all-
I think originally the tough part is coming in and realizing that your former teachers are not your colleagues. So that's the hardest part, is like still calling. You walk in, you say, "Hey, Mr. Lynskey," "Hey, Mr. O'Brien." You know, that's where it gets a little, you know, awkward for somebody who just comes in out of college and is a young gun. So
My experience is weird. I think I've been there. Next year is going to be my 18th year now at Columbus, and I am now starting to feel for the first time that I am a colleague, that I could kind of be on the same playing field as you guys. Because every time I walk the halls and I see you, I'm still like, man, you know, that's OB, that's Lynskey. Like it still hits me. And I feel bad for some of the kids that never got to have you, because I said it before, man, you guys did such a great job with me that I majored in history. What was I thinking?
Don't blame us for that. That was your choice.
What was I thinking? I thought everybody taught history like you guys did.
Come on, man.
And-
Listen, you could have joined the Peace Corps, only served 2 years
instead of 35. Yeah.
Yeah.
or 40.
Or 40.
It's a good experience. I'm going to speak for Mike, but I think just us younger guys are just trying to continue what you guys have started. That's what we're trying to do with the rest of the.
Yeah, that's what the Maris brothers started. I mean,
Yeah.
They started it with you guys, you fossils, you dinosaurs. And then hopefully we pass it on to another generation.
I think we look okay for men of a certain age.
You guys look great. What are you talking about?
There's a comment here that says you look better now than you did back in '89.
I didn't look very good. Oh, we got something. Joey Vasquez. It was his grandmother, as a matter of fact, who sewed him back together. Thank you, Joey, and thank your grandmother.
Can you imagine Abuela getting the monkey at her house?
I remember,
Abuelita, por favor, please.
I remember what it was. He fell off a balcony during a prom after party and ended up in Biscayne Bay.
Ooh.
And they fished him out, and he was in very, very. Joe, your grandmother did a great job. Thank you.
¿Qué es este? Seaweed. Que no sé.
Daniel Torres. OB, this is going to make you feel good. Dan just finished reading The Last Lion, the Winston Churchill War Memoirs. Great choice of a book, Dan, and no better man to read about. Much like Mr. O'Brien, a man of flaws, lacking in some character, but the right man at the right time for the right job. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Dan. Another one from Tom Martinelli again, asking for all of us, do we keep in touch with Brother Pat?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. And he is one of the favorite characters in the history of this school. Did he hire you guys?
Yep, he hired me.
He was my principal, and then he hired me.
Wow, it's like Edmund hired you and me, OB.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Was that Brother Sheehan?
Yes.
Mike, please tell that story, Mike. Please tell that.
Will the following students please report to the attendance office immediately? Freshman year.
That is, I don't know if you guys know this story, but that what Mike pulled off his senior year was gotta be the best prank ever, man. It's the best. You gotta say it.
Yeah, so I had a talent for, I was like sort of like the Frank Caliendo of Columbus. I did a lot of imitations over the years, and Brother Sheehan would actually get on the announcements a lot. And so, he would call kids down to the attendance office immediately, right? And of course, me being the clown that I was, I actually requested for a teacher in my class to go down. And the poor guy went down. Unbeknownst to him, he comes back and he says, "Hey, I don't know what happened." Meanwhile, we were left unattended for a short period of time.
No problem, though. No problem.
Nah, there's no problem at all.
Mike,
I'm a sub when that happened, and I was losing it. I was losing it.
Mike, how close are the guys from your class of 03?
Oh, we got a great, tight-knit group. We have a little Facebook page that we share, keep up with each other, what everybody's doing. Even in the last few days, we've seen a lot of doctors and stuff with their pictures posted, and firefighters. A lot of those guys are from our class, and we celebrate them, So we still keep in touch with all those guys.
And 98?
Yeah, we have our Facebook page, and Adrian Alfonso just texted me saying that Class of 98 has represented in each one of these virtual town halls with Adrian, Jerry Capote, and now myself. So we're following each other. Yeah, I'm waiting for Javi Gonzalez to ask a question on this. That's going to be very inappropriate pretty soon.
I would think. I would hope. And Dr. O'Brien, hard to believe, but your 50th high school reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Is creeping.
Yeah. I remember in 1972, we still had to push the Seminoles off the property to build the track out there, which was a dirt track. It was, so there was some they left with hands unshook.
How about you, John? How are you in your class?
Oh, my best friends in the world. And what's great, and I know you guys are the same, some of them are very successful and they're wealthy and all. Nobody cares. when we get together, we revert back to the same buffoonery, the same remarks, the same lack of respect that we had 40 some odd years ago. Who cares what you do? I remember when you did this. I knew you when. And we have so much fun together. We come up with excuses to get together. And those guys, and I know, OB, you're the same. The older you get, the more those friendships mean to you. You know, there's something about knowing someone for decade after decade after decade. So yeah, I love my classmates.
You know what that reminds me of? Remember when the guys from, I think it was the class of '69, they came in for a reunion, and those guys were like 18, 17-year-old kids again. Like they were in the cafeteria and they started doing a chant with our senior. I mean, that was just awesome.
So they were out of control that day.
Yeah, they were worse than our kids.
It was great.
Kids. I know.
I had to kick them out of the studio. They were just getting out of control.
These guys, I mean, and the seniors are looking at it like, sir, what's wrong with those guys?
Hey, let me tell you, those guys from 1968, 69, the senior year, well, homecoming in those days was a very serious business. And they made us wear beanies.
Yes.
We had to wear beanies. I mean, like the yarmulke beanies. And those guys were, oh, God, if you didn't have your beanie, oh, Lord, you had to go through the gauntlet. It was, but the class of 69, the 4 years I was there is probably the most talented group of guys that ever went through there in my 4 years. They were amazing.
Do you guys think, I mean, obviously we're a lot bigger, and I'm sure that's a factor. Do you still see the same kind of camaraderie with our current students that we had, despite the size?
I think it's the same, but a little bit different in the fact that it's more like club related or like team related, you know. I think when we were smaller, it was just overall, but now I see it more like the kids that are in certain, like I could talk about my CCNN kids. It's crazy. I see kids, I always refer back to this class of 2017, which is Anthony Martinez, who was the president of the robotics club, and Daniel DeVillers, who was a starting offensive lineman, should not be friends. And they are still to this day best of friends because of their connection at CCNN. And I know Mike with golf and all that stuff, you must have seen that as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got a bunch of kids that, I mean, that's what Columbus does, is it puts together a crazy group of kids that are just complete opposites from different neighborhoods, different backgrounds. And that's what makes Columbus special, I think. I mean, that's what I've experienced at least.
I remember earlier this year down here in the attendance office, Henry Parrish was in the office, getting a slip or whatever. And this young man was there, and he was a drama kid. Okay. So you got Henry Parrish, you got a drama kid. And so Henry, who's not the most vocal person, strikes up a convo. What do you do, man? I'm in drama. Oh yeah. And the next thing you know, they're having this back and forth about what each other does. That's not going to happen at another school. Everybody here, for whatever reason, it happens. It happened back then. It happens now. Things get leveled here. Everybody is treated the same, and everybody knows that, this guy's my brother. And I'm like you. I'm very proud of that. That tradition has continued.
I tell everyone, if you're just true to yourself at Columbus, nobody messes with you. They just kind of accept it,
And Mike, you can testify that now that half of our kids come from public schools.
Right.
It was a lot different when this was basically all kids from Epiphany or St. Tim's or wherever. Half of them are now public school kids, and we have to work that public school out of them. And it's amazing the transition. But you've seen it because you taught ninth graders and then you taught seniors. The change from ninth grade to senior year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'll be back.
All right.
You got a restroom break here. All right.
Classic OB.
Time out for Mr. O'Brien. Yeah.
What's that commercial?
Keeps going. You got a going problem.
You have a growing problem?
So, Mike,
No
how
offense, OB. He's not here to defend himself.
are we looking for summer school and everything else with remote learning? You feel good about it?
Yeah, we're ready to go. I mean, we have an orientation coming up for our summer school guys online. They're there to pick up their iPads pretty soon. So, yeah, we're ready to roll.
What have you heard from parents, Mike, about, any concerns about remote learning? Are they still more than happy to send their kids here, even though we're going to be going remote, most likely?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we still hold out hope for the start of the year, but I mean, in the summer we've had to make the choice to go remote. But I mean, again, the families are supportive. They understand it. They get it. I mean, safety first, obviously, would be our first concern, and learning. I mean, that's what we do at Columbus. We adjust on the fly, and you have to do what you have to do. So,
What do we have here?
you got Dante Pace.
Dante Pace.
Talking trash to Mr. Ovulus.
Thank you. Dante Pace, making obviously increasingly more upset throughout the 2018 faculty versus senior basketball game will forever give me peace of mind. Thank you, Dante. Not that it was not hard to get Mr. Ovulus riled up there.
He's a heck of a geometry teacher, that guy. Let me tell you.
Good.
He is. And he's a great fantasy football player, as Mike and I can attest to.
Leo.
Oh, Leo. Leo, you didn't give us your last name. But Leo said, Mr. Lynskey, you worked the public school out of me. Well, I'm glad we did, Leo.
Oh, this next question is good. Thomas.
Yeah, sandwich selling.
That's a good one.
I haven't seen it yet. Give me a second.
Thomas Martinelli, serious question. Are kids still selling sandwiches out of duffel bags before lunch?
The entrepreneurial spirit that existed at this school back, particularly when you guys were here, was amazing.
Hey, those are some good sandwiches, let me tell you.
There are guys, as you know, who have gone on to become tremendous entrepreneurs and selling of all kinds of wares. They started with sandwich sales here at Columbus in the early 2000s, late 90s.
I think someone actually opened up a Subway as a result.
I cannot confirm or deny that. I was able to pay for my tuxedo, limousine, and after party for prom doing some of that stuff.
Yeah, so that was Tom that asked that question?
Yeah,
Tom, the heyday, the golden years of entrepreneurial sandwich sales, they have.
Hey, welcome back.
They have passed. Welcome back, OB. But yes, there was, and they were, I'll be honest, they were good sandwiches. Some of our current faculty members actually, I believe, were involved with those sandwich sales. I could name a few names, but we won't. But yeah, good time.
Are you talking about the Columbus black market?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Welcome back to the conversation. Yes.
I'm just curious.
But yeah, we don't have that much of that anymore. It's funny, and I your guys' thought on this. We're twice as big, but we're twice as peaceful now too.
The world changed, man. I think when you stopped teaching us Vietnam that way and started giving out hugs in class, things started changing. That was the turning point.
But hey, guys need hugs every now and then. But
Speak for yourself, there, tough guy.
But no, we don't have the fights we used to have. We don't have the general insanity at times. But it comes with evolution. This was a fairly dangerous place at one time. The hallways could be hazardous to your health, and then we just We don't have a lot of that anymore. Do I miss it? Uh, Not really. Although there were some great moments, no doubt about that.
Isn't Hogan one of the best Mogans in the cafeteria?
Oh, there was some things did go down. Yes, they
I
did.
was
Okay. But if you go back to the early days of this school, this place was a halfway house between jail and the army. I mean, it, it was, it really was. But you know, rules were different. We got questions here. Uh, David D. Armis, how you doing, David? I had to leave Columbus after my sophomore year due to my dad losing his job. But I'm sorry to hear that. You went on to graduate from DeMatha Catholic in Maryland, great school, but you still keep in touch with your Columbus brothers. How great is that? Once an explorer, always an explorer. And Omar,
Yes,
this
sir.
one's for you.
A lot of guys that didn't make it through the halls of Columbus, unfortunately, that we still consider our
Yeah.
Columbus guys.
Yep.
That's perfect. Omar, you want to answer this one?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Luigi says, I always get asked how I memorized We Didn't Start the Fire. My response was my history teacher made me recite it without music. Yeah, it was a learning tool, man. I taught world history and we switched from world geography to world history. And I was like, how am I going to make these guys memorize major events? So I just made an extra credit project. And he was actually the first kid to ever do it.
He actually was able to do that?
The whole song. Yes. Yes.
That's
Hey, Omar, we got,
Yes, sir.
we got trouble in the Suez.
We actually have a virtual chime in here from the originator of those sandwiches, the great Marcus Rivero.
Marcus Rivero is in the house, man.
Yes.
Sold by Stir.
Yeah.
The absolute example of a Columbus entrepreneur.
He took that to another level.
Yes, he did.
He would
I
take
kind of wanted to
orders, man.
customize my work shoes. I think that would be cool.
Yes, you know what? Yes, it would be great if Marcus could customize our work shoes for us. I mean, the NBA guys, the NFL guys, why not us? Hey,
Yeah,
thank
why
you,
not the
Marcus.
Columbus teachers, you know?
Is boy, oh boy, we got someone. Who could this possibly be?
Heavy knock right there.
It's a heavy knock indeed.
Hey,
that's
The original, the OG himself, Carter Burris, class of 1962.
I think it's official. I'm the only person in here right now without a replacement hip or a replacement elbow.
Hey, come on. Come on. Come on, man.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Carter, you started this.
Sure.
I'm the only person in here right now without a replacement.
Carter, you got to turn off your YouTube, man.
Turn the volume. Turn the volume down.
Turn down your volume, man.
The button on the left.
Right.
Carter,
This is like bad radio right now.
hey, don't lip sync. Don't lip sync.
Hey, first time, long time caller, please turn down your radio, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me over.
Hey, it's great to have you here.
Okay.
You are the originator. You are responsible.
I like it. That's like the Terminator.
You know, yeah.
Mr. Lynskey, you see this backdrop we have right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was trying to think of a backdrop that would be suitable for this activity tonight. And I said, okay, Columbus, Paris, Rome, Athens, London, Gardens, Columbus, Westchester, the headwaters of the Tamiami Canal. This is it. Here we are, right here in beautiful Westchester.
Oh my.
It's a
Oh, wait,
garden.
shit. It was after 1959.
It is a garden spot.
It is.
And
Dr.
on my way over today, I said, okay, how can you start this off right? You start off when you have dinner, fine dining at Arbetter's, which they are open now. And you can go in and have a fine meal, gourmet meal, Arbetters.
Did you actually, you went in and ate this evening?
Well, I went in there and had a hot dog, but you know,
But you
what do
sat-
you call that?
Oh, that's fine dining. It's dining at its finest, no doubt. But you did sit in our betters today.
You can, it's open for that. Only half the seats available though. And,
So,
and
doctor, how'd you get the hot dog past the mask?
well, you know, you can take your mask off to do that.
Oh,
And a guy came in, a construction worker. See, that's what I like about Arbetters. It's the most egalitarian place in the entire world. Everybody's the same. Captains of industry, rogues, vagabonds, garbage men. Everybody's the same. This guy walked in. Yeah, what kind of hot dogs? And I said, sir, I recommend the Carter Burris. He said, what is that? And I said, you just go up there and order it and you let me know what you think. So he was eating it with his son there. He said, hey, you're onto something. Well, what is this? I said, it's the Carter Burris dog.
How's it feel to have a hot dog named after you, Carter?
I'm proud. I'm proud. And you could have a lot of things named after you, but I think a hot dog's good. I'm kind of a hot dog.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You really are, and you make no bones about that.
Oh,
As the elder statesman here, first setting foot on this campus in 1959, that's quite a thread. Quite a thread. How do you view the Columbus of today, Carter, based on your decades and decades of experiencing this school?
okay. When I first came here as a young freshman from St. Teresa, not a freshman, a sophomore, because they didn't have a freshman here the first year. I came with the Maris brothers, and say when I'm here at school too, you can hear the thunder going, and it was a rough and tumble school, and we did have some scholarly people there, and I take offense to what was said earlier about not having anybody scholarly. We had some pretty scholarly people here, but it was a rough and tumble school. And you had to be careful going down the hallways because something bad could definitely happen to you. But today, it's the same school, but a much more sanitized version. And we still have a few renegades, but the school is so much larger, you have to find them. But they're hiding in every nook and cranny around here. And sometimes you put them in the right situation and they'll come out. But otherwise, we keep it pretty well sanitized. It was not that sanitized in the very beginning. Not at all. And
Carter, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you could where the chapel is now was the senior smoking lounge. Yes, the senior smoking lounge. I mean, everybody knows it's good like a camel should, and you could go in there. But if you were not a senior, and in there they had a ping pong table and a pool table, if you were not a senior and you walked by, you could get drug in there. And there are people that got drug in. They haven't seen them. They have not come out yet. And it was a rough and tumble. And one of the earlier people that was here during that time, he donated his letter jacket, which is in the Moss building. And he wrote a letter with it and part of the donation. And in the letter, it said, yes, I'd like to dedicate this. And I would wear this at many football games, at Columbus, and also a few fights. And that you can see that.
It's right next to my office, actually.
Dr. Burris, question.
Yes.
Go
ahead.
Maybe we shouldn't go down this avenue, but do you remember a group called the Columbus Wheel, the Wheel Club?
Yeah, talk about Wheel Club, Carter. That great social experiment.
Okay, this was a period in history that doesn't exist anymore, like a lot of things that have taken place. Like
right,
you guys
you're right. This was the Jets and the Sharks.
Yes, but it was very unique to South Florida, starting back from the mid-50s, going up to about the middle 50s. They had a series of social clubs in high schools, and they had their own proms, and you had to pledge like a fraternity in college. And the first one that was started here at Columbus was called the Wheel Club. They had a legitimate sponsor, the Rotary. The Kiwanis had the Key Club. I think they had the Lions who had the Crescent Club. Of course, Squire, I was also a Squire here, Brother Eladio's club. I was a Squire also, mix and match, Wheel Club and Squires. And we were supposed to do community services, and we did. But we also threw a few parties, and we also got into trouble sometimes. We had our own handshake. We had our own horn honk. You could identify each other by going by front somebody's house and honking the horn. They would knew that's who it was. But it was just an unusual period in history that when it morphed into gang warfare back in the late 60s, they outlawed them in the Dade County school system. And of course, they were outlawed here too. I think Brother Kevin had something to do with that outlawing. But it was, but it was an unusual period. And the only remnants you'll find of that wheel club is right out by the cafeteria as you go around the curb. The class of 1963 wheel club carved it in the concrete as they were putting the curve in there. And I happened to discover that when I was walking by it one day. And of course, I brought that to several people's attention, but I don't know who remembers it now.
Oh yeah, no, it's right on the corner there. That and the Key Club.
Yes,
the little
Key Club.
Little fun fact for you guys. I actually show people on tours a little piece of history right there. It's like a little hidden Mickey, kind of thing.
And so by the way, all of you guys would have been nominated to become part of the Wheel Club. Absolutely, without a doubt.
I have no doubt about that.
But no,
Carter,
you would have. And by the way, Mr. O'Brien, when you were talking about that freshman, we had a freshman week. And every freshman, this happened for a period of time, they had to wear a beanie, and they were assigned to a senior in which they had to do whatever the senior said, wash my car, carry my briefcase. They didn't have backpacks, they have briefcases. I had a briefcase, and I'm proud of it.
Disclaimer, folks at home. This is called bullying now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. Okay, somebody got with a freshman. They took him and they put him in the dumpster behind the cafeteria and put a broom handle in there and forgot to retrieve him. And the little boy was found by the brothers, and he was let out. And of course, he notified his parents of this, and there were no more freshman week ever again.
How is this allowed?
I'd like to see Brother Kevin find him in the trash can.
Yeah, it wasn't Brother Kevin.
Hey,
but
Son,
it was okay. It was a learning experience for him.
Son.
He'll remember that for the rest of his life. Yeah.
Dr. Burris, do you remember the bonfires during homecoming week?
Oh God, that was the great out behind the gym out there. It was a 2-story bonfire until
for real.
Some of the local hoodlums from Rockaway came over and set it on fire the night before, burned to the ground. We never did it again. Oh, was that wonderful. Homecoming, a bonfire behind Columbus.
Oh, those bonfires were tremendous. It's kind of hard to do that now with a turf field.
No. After it got burned down, that was it. But it was a rough and tumble school.
I think Mike fell victim to the lightning. But, yep, there you go.
Mike may have left us.
It's not hard.
Is he back? I can tell you that in that class of 1961, the year before me, they had three of their graduates graduated from the United States Naval Academy. And they had several go to Notre Dame. So we had some pretty good students in there. By the way, in that same class of 1961, there was a gentleman named Nicholas Correa, served 3 tours in Vietnam. He came out and he invented the Incredible Hulk. He did the Incredible Hulk. And the painting that he did when he was in high school is in the locker room as we speak.
Great painting. Great. Oh,
Nicholas Correa.
Carter.
Yeah.
Here's a tough one. I wish Mike was still on for this. It's from Travis Few in the class of 08. We'd need more than this, but who was on your Mount Rushmore of Columbus athletics? We need more. We need more than 4, that's for sure.
Well, yes, we do. I tell you, I used to talk about this all around great athletes. Number one is going to be starting off. I'm going to go chronologically. Is a guy named Jack Ellison, the class of '61. He was all everything. He was perfect. Then you have a guy like Johnny Bow, who was all everything. Played at Kentucky. A guy named Lou Pytel that played at University of Miami, University of Tampa, and he was the one on the team that beat the first winning team at Columbus that beat Gables in 1966. That was great. Of course, Alonzo Highsmith. And as you start going, a guy named Mike Riley from the class of 1977. By the way, the class of 1977 was one of the most infamous classes that ever went through Columbus. And one of my favorite classes, the class of '83, that's one with Highsmith and some of those guys. The class of '83 had some unusual characters too, as your class did, John Lynskey.
Yes, this school has always produced characters. We could keep going.
But those guys, they have so many great athletes today.
As a teacher, I have a different perspective on this because, I mean, to me, my 4 and number 4 is because I coached him, but Eric Diaz, I think he's one of the best basketball players to ever come through here. And then I'd go with John Jay because, I mean, better baseball and guy, you can't beat John. He's the man. And then Jakari Gore, to me, as an athlete, forget it. But then for me, the most incredible athlete I've ever seen at Columbus is Pat Lee. I mean, what he was able to do was amazing.
Yeah, Pat's a true.
Yeah, I've heard people say that too. These were just people that I experienced when I was here.
Oh, there's so many different. Xavier Henderson, to me, Xavier's the best all-around athlete I've ever seen. But we could keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mike, what happened, Mike?
We get hit by lightning over here in Palmetto Bay, man.
Yeah, it's coming down to Color Bay too. Hey, Dr. Burris, changing gears a little bit. Let's go back to Florida history. Who's your favorite kid? Because you got me into Florida history. I took the class after you went into your 3rd retirement. Can you tell me who, in your mind, is your favorite, all-time favorite character of Florida history? We really want to know.
I think it would have to be the Admiral General of the Ocean Sea, Pedro Menendez de Avalos. Of course, you're familiar with him, but the others may not be. And this was the guy who founded St. Augustine, landed here. This guy was the real deal. You did not want to come across him on the wrong end of a sword. This guy, he was what we call badass. He was the ultimate. Would you?
Hey, did you know that he brought all the cattle and pigs that are in Florida, so that they're still there? Every pig in the Everglades is because of Pedro Menendez de Avalos.
He was a great one.
Long-standing contribution. I just got asked a question, OB. It was the question I asked you. Somebody asked me, is there anything that I didn't get to teach that I wanted to teach? Yeah, English. I always wanted to teach an English class. I wanted to teach American Lit. I got to be Carter Burris by teaching history. I really wanted to be Fred Panzer and teach English just one time, 1 year. And it just never happened. I did get to teach religion for a couple years, which I enjoyed tremendously. Morality, great class. To seniors,
you were a hell of a typing teacher too.
I was a tremendous typing teacher.
Wouldn't you go into Pellegrin's room and teach the Raven? Like that was your section, right?
Yeah, that was my little, journey into English. As Rick would let me come in and I would do the Raven and Alone and Invictus and things like that. But man, I always wanted to be just one time an American Lit teacher. So that was a very good question. Hey, somebody's knocking on the door again. I think we should let him. Who do we?
Hey,
Mr. President.
Be quiet. It's the boss.
The boss. We got to shape up a little bit.
Okay, clean it up.
He's connecting to audio.
Does this remind you of Paris, Athens, Rome, that setting back there? Does that remind you a little bit of that?
It does. It does. I can
He's
see that.
connecting. He's connecting to audio, guys.
Yeah, during
But
the
it-
war years,
but it-
Carter.
But it's Westchester.
Hey, by the way, I'm convinced Brother Kevin cut me off in the middle of my imitation of him for sure. Magically, my Wi-Fi went out right as I was doing his imitation.
Well, why don't you dive back into that, Mike?
He's got that down good.
Son, what are you doing in the trash can?
I'm gonna try to fix this for Tom. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carter
Come on,
Burris,
Mr.
Carter
Rocket.
Burris. Okay, I still
This is
have
the
my
only reason why we
copy
brought you here. Oh, God. Come on.
of the Lonely African. The Lonely African.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was
All
a
right.
great one. I'm glad you remembered that.
Hi, Tom.
There he is.
How's everybody doing today?
Very good.
Good. Thank you for joining in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's been fun hearing you guys. Some great stories there all the way through. You know,
We got a lot of history here, Tom.
yeah, absolutely. You know, when I hear those stories and I hear, you know, what you guys talk about, what an amazing thing. What an amazing brotherhood Columbus is. Of course, some of those stories are starting to make me nervous as well when I'm thinking about our guys. So I'm probably, I have trouble sleeping as it is right now. So I'm really getting trouble sleeping now.
Now, remember, don't take a lot of these stories out of context. This is a different time now.
Oh, okay. It's out of context. I understand. Okay.
So, Tom, you've had quite a journey in this year, from a hurricane to a state championship to a pandemic, and you've managed to, you know, go through it with a steady hand and a calm demeanor. How has it been for you this year?
It's been an amazing year, John. It really has. I mean, you know, starting with the hurricane and you know, having to run through Home Depot because I wasn't at all ready for the hurricane. So, you know, got through that. But, you know, I mean, going to the state championship, the Berlin tailgate, oh my God, you know, going up to Daytona and seeing all the alumni who came up there for the game, and then being on the field there at the very end, absolutely amazing. It's been a heck of a ride for a year. It's been a great year. And, you know, but there's more to come. We're not done with this year yet.
And how have what has the alumni feedback been to you about how our remote learning process has been going, from alumni, parents, et cetera?
So I've been talking to a lot of alumni, to the parents, to everybody out there, and the feeling is it's been real strong. You know, they knew that we were coming in with a phased approach, and they kind of liked that. They liked the fact that the very first week, you know, we didn't try and throw everybody into the deep end of the pool. We kind of moved into it. And, you know, the comments that I'm getting from parents is that it's been very solid. They like the feedback. They like what their guys, their sons, are able to talk to our faculty members, have the conversations they have. Nobody feels like they're falling behind. Everybody feels like they're moving forward, and I love hearing that.
That is great. Yeah, because I think it's the truth. I mean,
yeah,
we got Mr. O'Brien, the Zoom master, with us. I mean, what more can you say?
Well, you know, and I start off by not being able to even get my sound working here. So, yeah.
Good job, Omar.
Hey, come on.
No, that's mine. That's mine. I'll take the hit on that one. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's been kind of interesting to watch everybody kind of make the transition about the amount of technology that we're using. You know, how we're using Zoom, how we're having our conversations. You know, we meet every morning at 10 a.m. I think, you know, it's really been an interesting process watching us move forward. And I think the things that we've got to do now is look at it and say, okay, what have we learned from this? And how do we apply it next year when we're in face-to-face and we're back into the face-to-face modality? And there's a lot of technology. You know, we've had some folks come in to help us on the technology side. And I'm just real excited where we're at right now.
I know that you heard a lot during your interview process and while you were transitioning here about the Columbus Brotherhood and the relationships and everything else. Now that you've experienced it, it's quite something, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, John. You're right. I mean, you know, just the Berlin tailgate was the beginning for me. You know, getting there, and I remember I stood up and I talked that evening because Ralph Roca wanted me to talk. So I got up and I talked. And after I finished, I had no idea what I said. You know, because There were just so many people there, the intensity of the experience. But the brotherhood is just amazing. And to me, where I really see the brotherhood is right now, in the situation that we're in right now. I've had the opportunity to have some alums reach out to me who are willing to help out for some of our guys who are struggling, for some of our families who are struggling. When I saw what we did with the restaurants back a few weeks ago, I think to me, that's what really speaks so strongly about what the brotherhood is. It's not a tagline. It's not just something that we talk about. It's something that we live. And, hearing, Mike talk about it, hearing Carter talk about it, hearing, OB talk about it, John, hearing you talk about it, I think it's pretty amazing. And that's, to me, what sets off Columbus from any other school that I've ever seen. And, I've seen, as we've talked, I've seen a lot of college, I've seen a lot of high schools around the country, and I've never seen one quite like Columbus. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That is-
Is that you, Steve?
What's that?
I need to feed the cat.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
know. The cat comes up right next to me. He's right next to me. Plus, I've also got my
Mr.
dinosaurs
Kruzak.
for when I'm playing with my grandson. So I've got my dinosaurs here. So that's what the house office is like. You know what that's like, Mike.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Carter, I was going to ask you earlier, going back to the very, very beginning of Columbus athletics, Columbus football, what did it mean to a guy like yourself to see us finally win a state championship after 60 years? What was that like for you?
It was incredible because I know that they came close. I was at the games when they played in the 80s, and they'd had some really good teams back then. And they've had some really good teams along the way. But to finally do it and the way they did it, it was exciting. You could write a book about this. Losing 4 games in the middle of the season, everybody wrote us off, and then going up there and winning with the 2-point play at the end. It was a dream come true, and something everybody in the Columbus family will remember for the rest of their lives. As I think I told some of you, that a friend of mine who graduated from my class, a Vietnam pilot and flew for the airline, lives in the Virgin Islands. He flew all the way up to Atlanta, flew over to the game in Daytona, watched the game, and flew right back right after the game, not very steadily, all the way back to the Virgin Islands. And he said it was unbelievable for him and for somebody to do something like that. And you ran into one of your old colleagues, Gene Lemoyne, at the game, which was kind of interesting.
I did, and it was fun seeing Gene and hearing his story about what Columbus meant to him when he was here. And I worked for Gene when I worked for the Walt Disney Company, so known Gene a long time. And that's what made that tailgate was so much fun, was because we had a chance to run into so many people and have so many great conversations and see so many people there for that game. That was pretty amazing.
Mike, as admissions director, what kind of impact have you seen from us winning that state title?
Oh, I mean, just the buzz around the school. I mean, that creates so much buzz for the incoming students and then the future kids who are in the stands. I'm sure, we had tons of younger guys in the 6th, 7th grade that are saying, wow, I want to be a part of something like that. Not even if they don't play football. I mean, exactly. Just the student environment, the stands, the energy. I mean, just all of that, I think, lends itself to being a part of something really special.
Mike and I go to some of the grade schools for some of the visits, and that's, was amazing seeing, how powerful Columbus is when you go there and you walk into a class of a bunch of guys and you ask them where they're going to high school, and they all start hooting and hollering that they want to go to Columbus. So it's pretty amazing. It's an amazing brand, but it's an amazing school.
Do we have a question? Let's see. What do we have here?
The watch parties for that state football game all around the city were spectacular too for the people that couldn't go.
Oh yeah.
I went to one at Big Floyd down south where they had a big outdoor movie television screen watching it. And there were 100 people watching it. People I hadn't seen in 10 years.
I got a question for us. Who do you guys think has been the strictest teacher in Columbus history?
The strictest,
the strictest teacher in Columbus history. Now, strict has had different meanings in different decades. you know.
Completing the fifth.
Yeah. There were
Getting in on this.
There might be some people alive or that are still here part of that. I don't know.
yeah.
That's a loaded
I-
question.
One of the toughest
So
teachers-
was Mr. Lynskey was he a strict teacher? Was Mr. Lynskey a strict teacher?
What do you think,
Yes.
Mike?
Yeah,
Yes.
he kept the class under control.
Yeah, the class was
Okay.
definitely under control by the bottom
All right,
of his
that's
cowboy
good,
boot.
right?
But yeah, I mean, you know,
I don't know if it was strict, man. I just think he talked and we were all in awe of him, and we just kind of just, behaved because we wanted to hear what he had to say.
right.
I'll tell you who the scary. We're getting
Canelo?
Melissa's getting some names. To me,
Brother Edmund?
Lou Savino may have been the most intimidating person I've ever met in my life. Lou would walk into the cafeteria and everybody would stop talking. Lou, the temperature dropped when Lou walked into a room.
It was like the Fonz. He didn't have to do anything. It's just everybody knew he was the baddest dude in the school. He worked for the CIA, the KGB. He worked for Che Guevara. So many stories, but everybody believed half of them, and they just did not want to fool with Lou Savino. He wasn't very intimidating looking.
Wait a
I'll tell you,
minute,
man. As a student, I didn't have him, but as a teacher, Mr. Canella came up to me, and I was the crossover when he stopped doing CCNN and gave it to me. And the last thing
Yeah,
he
I
ever
had him.
told me was, "Yeah," he goes, "This is yours now. Don't screw it up," and walked out of the room. So yeah, I would say Mr. Canella was definitely pretty strict.
Yeah, he was my physics teacher.
Great
and-
guy.
And he threw a foam block cylinder at me. I thought it was real, and I jumped. But yeah, it was.
So we've had our share of disciplinarians.
Modern day people are saying more.
Yeah,
We didn't
obviously.
say- we said strict.
Mr. Morris would be on the top of the list, I would say. Yeah.
Define strict.
Hey, John, how about Nancy Husted?
I was going to thank you, OB. Thank you,
Oh.
OB.
Oh. Hands down.
I was afraid of her.
Mrs. Hughes
Absolutely.
scared everybody with her
Yeah.
tongue.
She was tough,
Hey,
man.
Carter, is that a true story that Nancy shook hands and hit off Hitler?
She said she was in the crowd, and she said
Told me
she
that.
was overcome by what he said. Just with the way the crowd went, she became part of it.
Wow.
Where was this?
Wow.
This was in Munich.
You said, well, her husband flew all over the world working for Pan American, and she would go these different places, and that was part of her stories that she would tell the students. Now, whether it was
Wow.
true or not, I don't know, but it sure sounded good, and it's very possible.
So she was a great storyteller, huh?
Yeah, that.
She was something else. She's a great teacher. Great teacher.
Anybody that writes Cliff Notes, my check.
Tom, why don't you let our audience know where we're at as best you can, obviously, in terms of graduation and things like that, as much as you can.
Sure. So we've got two events planned for this week. We've got our virtual baccalaureate mass, which is going to be at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be doing it again on YouTube, just like we're doing right now. And then the 23rd, we're doing the senior celebration on the 23rd of May, and that's going to be at 7 o'clock. So you can be able to see it live, but then you'll also be able to watch a tape of it as well. Both of them are going to be great. They're great opportunities. We really wanted to do something on the 23rd because that was graduation day. And we knew that everybody's going to feel a little down. We knew people would be a little bit upset about not having the face-to-face graduation then. So we wanted to do something. So that's the virtual celebration that we're doing, the senior celebration. But we got something else planned, and we're working our way through it. You just got to trust me on this. It's going to be fun. It's going to be special, and it's going to be a face-to-face graduation. So we're getting ready and hoping we can make an announcement here real soon. Can't quite do it just yet, but we're moving in that direction. So parents out there, I know we've been hearing, Mr. Pugh and I have been hearing from you. We understand that you want to have something. We really want to have something as well, and we're going to do something. So graduation is not the end on the 23rd. We're going to do something else after that.
Perfect. Perfect. And in terms of, and we've heard this, school's financial status.
So, really, we're blessed. Columbus is absolutely blessed. Mike just does a magnificent job, bringing in, our freshman class. And, we're really, I think we're in really good shape. The class for next year looks strong. The returners look strong as well. All you have to do is pick up the paper and you see what, some other schools are struggling. Some colleges and universities are struggling out there. We're not in that position right now. My greatest worry, honestly, is financial aid. Are we going to have a situation where more of our families are going to need aid? And we're not going to let our students get away. We're not going to allow our young men not to be able to have an education at Columbus. So that's really what's on my mind right now. But right now, God bless, we've been very blessed and we're in very strong shape.
And God bless them. We've had a number of alumni step up and make donations, not to buildings, but to families, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And, I've been getting calls every day from alumni who have been helping, who have been asking how they can help. And I love that. I've heard so many stories about how the Marist brothers and how Columbus helped so many of our guys get through school. When their mom died or their dad died or something happened in their families, Columbus stepped up. And we're going to do that again. And we're able to do that because we've got such amazing, amazing alumni. And I'm so grateful to all of them out there who have been helping us. And, I again, just can't thank you enough. The brotherhood is an amazing, and it's strong. And especially during this time, I'm really, really appreciative how we support and help each other.
That's what we do. Dr. O'Brien?
Tom, question. Changing gears a little bit. Let's talk about the end of the pandemic party. That's going to be the party of the century. That's going to bring in every generation of Columbus faculty and alumni for the blowout of all time. It's all yours, sir.
It will be amazing. Actually, it's funny you mention that, OB, because I've been getting calls from alumni talking about that, getting ready for it. So we are going to have a party. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know how we're going to do it, but it's going to be, and I can imagine it being at Columbus, and we're going to have a lot of fun because I think all of us, we're tired. We want to be with each other. We want to see each other. And just today, being on campus, handing out caps and gowns, it was just so good to see so many of our folks there. But it was great to see our guys. It was great to see our guys, even though they were driving through with masks inside the car. We're going to have a heck of a party, OB. Absolutely.
What I think is going to be interesting is when we get back is our kids, for whatever reason, this is just something that I've always felt at Columbus. We embrace each other. We give high fives. We hug. We shake hands. Like, that's going to be the biggest adjustment, I think, for our school. It's going to be fun.
Even now, it's hard, when we see each other. We're used to shaking hands. We're used to doing the fist bumps, the hugs, and we can't do that right now. It just feels so weird. It just feels absolutely weird. But it's going to be a heck of a party.
There you go.
I can't wait.
The alumni are calling for a second pig roast, by the way.
Ooh, I like that. Now that was fun. Pig roast was definitely fun.
Pig roast.
End of pandemic party pig roast. There you go. That's nice.
I want the franchise. I want the franchise T-shirts.
We can keep the
Steve,
tent 6 feet apart.
We'll talk, okay? We'll talk.
Hey,
Pandemic Puerco.
Pandemic work.
Potential. It's got potential.
It does. It does. Hey, listen, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out after a busy day to do this. You're people I admire greatly. You've been my teachers. You've been my students. You've been my peers. And Tom, we're so pleased that you've joined into this special association that we have. And anybody have any closing remarks they'd like to make?
I just want to say personally, thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for everything.
I want to wish Andy Aviles a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Wonderful geometry teacher.
Yes.
The one who gets the most mad at announcements in the afternoon.
Mel, thanks so much for everything. Mel and Omar, great job again, as always.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Without Omar and Mel, this would not have happened. Thank
Absolutely.
you, guys. I can't wait till we're we're back together and not doing this, although this was a lot of fun. And thank everybody for tuning in, brothers and sisters out there that joined us on this stormy Monday evening. And I think we should do it again soon. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
I'm in.
I'm available. There's many more stories where this came from.
If I could quote you, Carter Burke, there's a lot of stories in the Naked City.
Old milk truck.
And we
The
have
milk truck.
light and lively, John, light and lively.
Light and lively. On that note, Explore Nation, we thank you for your support. We thank you for your dedication to this school. We thank you for sending your sons here. And we can't wait for better days so the Explore Nation can gather together again. So until that time comes, stay safe, stay healthy, and Adelante. Good night, guys.
Adelante.
Good night, guys.
Talk.